We're going to get started. So open up the meeting, the select board meeting of July 26, 2021, 6:30 PM. Please stand for Pledge of Allegiance. All right, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing as we offer a moment of silence for our service men and women, both here and abroad, and both past and present, and also our healthcare workers, especially on the fourth wave. Thank you. Please be seated. Okay, well, I need a motion for the warrant to be signed and also to have Mr. McInnes use our stamp to sign the warrant.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Mickelson, seconded by
Me, I'll second.
Mr. Gracie. On the motion, any questions? Mr. Tattlebaum,
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson,
Yes.
Mr. Gracie?
Yes.
Chair votes in favor, yes. All right, we'll do a 6:30 appointment. We have a one-day event for the South Wharf. Somebody here for that?
Yes, I am.
Okay, could you just give us a brief description? Date, time, tickets?
Yeah, absolutely. So the event is Friday, July 30th. It's a community event. There will be live music. Tickets are a donation based and the proceeds will go to DNRT. The timing of the event is from 5 to 8.
Okay, and this is at the South Wharf, right, in the village?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
All right, gentlemen, pleasure. Questions?
Motion to approve.
Motion made by Mr. Mickelson,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Gracie. On the motion, any questions? All those, okay. Roll call vote. Mr. Tattlebaum,
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson,
Yes.
Mr. Gracie,
Yes.
Mr. Harronwood, this is the South Wharf event. If you'd like to record a vote,
Yes, in favor.
thank you. And chair votes in favor. Thank you. All right, good luck.
Thank you.
Have fun. Since Attorney Savastano is not here right now, let's take care of one of the better things we have to do on our meetings is to swear in two new peace officers in town. Chief Levesque, you have the floor.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I'd like to request the appointment of two permanent full-time police officers to fill current vacancies in the town of Dartmouth. We did have a third candidate who had been issued a conditional offer of employment, but this candidate removed himself from consideration after being selected. The first candidate we have tonight is Trevor Gregoire. He's 21 years old and previously worked as asset protection for Stop and Shop. Trevor graduated from Dartmouth High School and Bristol Community College in 2020 with an associate's degree in criminal justice. He's currently working towards his bachelor's degree at Bridgewater State University. The second candidate is Dyess Mancuso. He's been a town resident since 2015 and worked with us as a dispatcher for 4 years prior to attending the police academy. Mr. Mancuso holds a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Southern New Hampshire University, where he is nearing completion of his master's degree. On March 1st, these candidates began their training at the Plymouth Police Academy. I'm pleased to report that both candidates successfully completed their training and graduated this past Friday. They have now met all the requirements to become full-time police officers in the state of Massachusetts. I request that the board appoint Trevor Gregoire and Nicholas Mancuso as permanent full-time Dartmouth police officers. Thank you.
Okay. Board, pleasure.
I'd like to motion that we appoint Trevor Gregoire and Nicholas Mancuso as two new Dartmouth police officers. The two new Dartmouth police officers.
Okay,
Congratulations.
Motion made by
Congratulations,
Mr. Mickelson. Is there a second?
Second.
second by Mr. Herron. On the motion, any questions, comments? Okay,
I wish
before
them
we,
the best
yes,
and be safe, please.
yes, very much so. Mr. Gregoire, Mr. Mancuso, you're entering a profession that has been well respected throughout the years. It's going through a tough time right now, but it's still respected. Being your age and being young and being from the town itself, you will come across many times of instances where you're going to know somebody on the other side that you're going to have to deal with. It'll be very difficult at times, but over the years, it has been shown by our by our other police officers that they've done a remarkable job. Please lean on your family for support, as there will be times where you'll need that support. But also, please lean on your fellow officers. What they have gone through, you can learn to help you get through what you need to get through. Any questions? I know you will have an amazing support. You have our support as a board. And we only wish you the very best. And as my compatriot said, Mr. Herron, please be safe out there at all times. On the motion, Mr. Tattlebaum,
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson,
Gladly, yes.
Mr. Herron,
Yes.
Mr. Gracie,
Yes.
and the chair votes in favor. Congratulations, gentlemen. Chief, do you do the swearing in now, or you will do it at a later time?
Yeah, we're gonna actually do it tomorrow morning.
Okay. Congratulations, gentlemen, and good luck.
God bless you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right, and no Anthony yet. Okay,
I've tried to contact him. I have not heard back.
that's okay. Lawyers, you know, can rely on them, I guess. All right, next we have an appointment to the Cultural Council, and that's not the singing band, because I know Mr. Sears does not have a very good voice from what I've been told. Jim Sears is looking to be appointed to the Cultural Council, and by his resume, can only enhance the council. Mr. Sears, you just want to give us a little description of who you are and why?
Okay. Jim Sears. I've lived here in Dartmouth since 1974 when I came to the university as a teacher. I retired from biology in 2002. Went back to school and took courses to earn a Bachelor of Fine Arts in painting. So now I do painting and printmaking. I'm an artist and have been involved with a number of other local artists in various shows and so forth. My wife's also a painter, and we were asked if we'd like to, I was asked if I'd like to join the council, and I said I'd be happy to do that. Actually, they were looking for a chair, and I said I would do that.
You've had experience.
I've had experiences running various organizations.
Behind every man is a good woman, and we heard from her. All
We
right,
like the team.
very much so. All right, board's pleasure.
Motion to appoint.
Is there a
Second.
second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Herron. Motion made by Mr. Nicholson, seconded by Mr. Herron. On the motion, any questions? Mr. Tattlebaum,
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson,
Yes.
Mr. Herron,
Yes.
Mr. Gracie.
Yes.
Chair votes in favor. Congratulations, Mr. Sears, and thank you for volunteering.
Thank you, Chairman McDonald. Yeah. Go
All
through
right.
it now, I guess.
Anthony is here now. The only thing is, the ZBA chair is not here.
Well, wasn't there a letter from him?
No, it was from one of the board members.
That was from him also.
Was it from him also?
I believe so.
So neither one of them could be here tonight?
Neither could be here, no. They did include the decision, the ZBA's decision in detail on how they came to their decision. I think they can be available for another meeting in August if the board wishes to have them in for that.
Yes, I would like them in for that, for the sole purpose of they've made two decisions that directly impacts this board. And I know Anthony, and you can probably answer this question. Those individuals who receive the user variance still has to come before this board for a host agreement to do anything at either parcel, correct?
Yes.
Correct, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, that was easy. All right.
So how about August 9th? That's the first one, or August 23rd?
I'm not sure. I think August 9th, are we going to be loaded a little bit on August 9th?
Let me see here.
Here's the problem, is we only have 20 days from the day the decision is filed to appeal it if you decide you want to appeal it.
All right. So what's the last day to appeal?
I don't know if it's been filed yet.
I don't think it's been filed. It was decided last week. They sent the decision with the date. I'll find the decision date. I think it was sometime last week. 20 days from that would be.
Well, the hearing date was July 21st. According
Right.
to the decision. So
So we
I
can't
just
go to
don't know.
we can't go to the 23rd.
The way it does, it says receive town clerk. I can't read
Yeah,
the stamp
the
on
9th
it.
is the 19th day. But
July,
whether
June
or not-
22nd, it was July 22nd, it was filed with the town clerk.
all right.
20 days from July 22nd. And it's not
Okay,
easy
so
to put
that
together
would
a
make it
zoning.
August 4th.
Because not only do you have to file the appeal, you have to serve the parties. And you have to.
Anthony, it's not working.
Now, so
Anthony,
there's a process to do a zoning.
okay. All right, Anthony, most of your audio just came in very lapsed and very tweaked. So, but it
It
looks
says
like
the
it's
host
August.
has stopped my video. Can you hear me or? do I
Yes,
need to
it's a lot
call?
better.
I hear you.
No, I don't know why the host has stopped my video. I guess either you can see me or you can hear me. I don't know.
Maybe it's your car.
We can hear you.
It says the host stopped it. All right, so I'll talk.
Okay.
Anyway, so what I was saying is, we only have 20 days from the date of filing with the town clerk. According to the copy that I have, was filed on the 22nd of
Correct.
July. I would confirm that with the town clerk. But putting together a zoning appeal is not easy. It's not just filing with the court. You also have to serve the parties by certified mail. It's a lengthy process to put together a zoning appeal. So if you're going to appeal it, then you have one. Basically, we have only till August 11th, and I wouldn't want you to make a decision on August 9th.
Yeah.
For us to get that together and get served by then.
Well, let me ask this
That's also
question.
something we can discuss in executive session as well. If we're going to talk about filing a lawsuit, maybe we should go into
Right.
executive.
Well, let me ask this question. Even if we do not appeal, and no host agreement can be reached, nothing moves forward then, correct?
Well, right, but here's my concern is I don't know how long this host agreement situation is going to last. Right now, we're still allowed to do host agreements, but at some point in the future, the variance runs with the land, so it's there forever. This is not a variance given to the applicant. This is a variance that's given to whether the applicant is Apotho Therapeutics,
Yeah.
I guess is how you say it. Even though they were the applicant, it runs with the property, so the property owner holds the variance.
So
Well,
in essence.
there's been no applicant.
The ZBA has put us into a real bind.
Yeah, they have.
Yeah, I definitely.
We can go in executive session to talk about this if you want to.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're prepared to do it in Zoom.
But just to clarify, so Apotho was one of the companies looking to do manufacturing and cultivation. Nobody has come forward for a retail license on that location. It's been brought up, but we have not issued an RFP for a retail since last year, since the one we just awarded to Solar Therapeutics. So there's nothing. They're just the property owner is moving forward with the ZBA use variance in order for any future RFPs that are issued by the town for retail marijuana to be eligible.
I don't understand. So in essence, because the owner couldn't find, I understand that there was a restaurant that was supposed to go in there, but it went in before COVID hit, and it made it difficult for any restaurant, especially one starting up, to get going. And that place has been vacant for approximately a year and a half. What does that preclude store owners that, number one, own where Circuit City is, Old Country Buffet, or what's the arts and Peace Good next to Ocean State Job Lot? Not Michael's, but
AC Moore.
AC Moore. Those stores from doing the same thing, you know, and just circumventing what the town wishes and going to a use variance for anything. And just to say, well, we've tried to rent it over a period of time. What if there was a store in the mall? Then the mall says, okay, maybe we can put in a marijuana retail place in the mall. Who's to say to stop them from using the use variance? Something like this just, it takes away from the town's ability to determine what is best for the town. And personally, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. And
Here's the thing, is there's a number of uses that are allowed in that district. Restaurant is only one. I don't know personally, but I've heard that the building is in tough shape and probably is coming down either way, if that's accurate or not. But you can't find a hardship because one particular use, such as a restaurant, doesn't work there. The variance says the most feasible alternative use for the existing building. That's not a standard for a variance. It has to be a hardship owing as to soil shape and topography unique to that lot that basically renders it useless to any allowed use.
all right, I think we're going to have an executive session regarding a situation in town that we have been emailed with. We're going to have to discuss that. We're going to have another. We'll add to that executive session this discussion. Is next Monday at 5 o'clock good for everybody?
Yes.
Okay,
Next
All right.
Monday, you said?
next Monday.
So
I want to do 5 o'clock because I know Anthony sometimes is tight on a Monday at 7. So
August 2nd,
yes.
That works for me.
5 o'clock. Yeah, I can do it.
Okay, so we'll schedule an executive session to discuss this issue and another issue, potential litigation, and contract wise, that night. Okay, Mr. Tattelbaum.
I take it, who is allowed and not allowed to be at the executive session other than our board? Anybody from zoning, for ZBA or ZBA?
You can invite them if you want to. That's your call.
Yeah, I think we'll invite the chair.
Okay.
Well, the situation there is the chair who ran the meeting is no longer the chair, so that and so they were both at the meeting for the vote, but one is the chair for the meeting is no longer the chair. So it could be
Okay, the
either
current
one.
chair
because-
now?
My only concern is we can invite them, but at some point, if we're going to discuss potential litigation, we would ask them to leave.
Right. Well, we can do that.
Okay,
And if we invite the board, make sure that they post.
it's an
Okay.
executive meeting.
Right. No, they would have to post if there was more
Have a
than two.
quorum.
Well,
There's a quorum of the board.
if there's,
They would have to
yeah.
post.
well, if we invite to,
Right.
So why don't you just invite the chairman?
Yeah, I'd rather
One
wouldn't just.
one or the other, one of the other.
Because I don't know that they would have a reason for executive session because they're not considering litigation. So I don't think they would have a reason for executive session. You certainly can ask a member to join our executive session.
All right. Just
We're there to
just
discuss
invite the
litigation.
chair.
Well, the
Pick one.
chair, the current chair, I believe, didn't he send a note to us that he wasn't available? He was out of town?
For tonight's meeting.
Yes.
No, for next week as well. I think he was going away. That was in our notes.
Right. One
Well,
of,
if he's
he'll
not
be
available, if he's not available for Monday, then you invite the chair that was Saturday night in the meeting. That's the guy I want.
They were
That's the
both
person I
there.
want.
They were
Well,
both there. So.
I would prefer the chair who was sitting at that meeting that granted this variance.
Mr. Chuba.
Okay. All right. So we got that taken care of. All right, Anthony, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too now. All right, next item on the agenda is the Green Communities Grant Award notification. Good stuff.
All right, good evening. So we were notified last week that we received our $172,720 in a Green Communities grant. This is an annual grant that we apply for to move forward with some energy efficiency upgrades. So this year in particular, we will be going forward with a energy management system upgrade at the Southworth Library, some exterior lighting upgrades at Apponeganset Park, some variable frequency drive upgrades at Southworth Library, an energy management system upgrade at the high school. We'll be sending 3 town employees to get their building operator certification. We'll also be replacing the charging stations at the town hall and the Council on Aging with some updated equipment. So this is a grant that we've gotten every year that we've applied for. And I can't thank Kathy Stanley enough, our energy manager. She was instrumental in putting all these projects together. These are a lot of work, and she does a great job preparing the application and overseeing the projects throughout the year. So kudos to Kathy and another successful grant that we were able to secure.
It's great. It's an awful lot of money. It's wonderful.
Yes, it's a significant sum for us to save in the future, that's for sure. So I'll be interested to see the expenditure versus what we end up saving over a period of time. I think that's a very good thing to track. Plus the fact that I like the idea of changing out the charging stations so that nobody just basically just leaves a car there and stays there as it has in the past.
I just might add the projected annual energy savings from these projects alone was nearly $50,000, $48,000 a year.
That's good. It's nice.
Did you say $48,000 a year?
Yes. That's a significant savings. That's for sure. Excellent. To everybody who worked on that, congratulations. And I'm sure we're all looking forward to seeing the results. So excellent.
And when will this start?
We'll start we're submitting the contracting documents. So we'll start the projects probably sometime in the fall and get them done through the beginning of next year.
You anticipate 1 year?
Some of them may go a little bit longer because a couple of these energy management system upgrades are significant projects, but typically we try to get them done within a year so we're eligible for the next grant round.
Great, that's great. Thank you. That's a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, next 3 items, we have Steve Mello, our harbor master, with us. So the first item is the Dyess Landing Marina Feasibility Study. We have a meeting, I guess, set up for tomorrow sometime.
We have a public hearing scheduled within a public meeting of the Waterways Commission tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Select Board Meeting Room. That's room 304. Urban Harbors will present the findings of their study, the draft study. It'll be a question and answer period following that. There'll be discussion. At some point, the Waterways Commission will vote on whether to accept the study results and whether to send it on to the Select Board for acceptance on behalf of the town. They've done a thorough job, and I'm impressed with a lot of the information that they have pulled out. And not going to steal their thunder, but I think tomorrow night will be an interesting lesson on the economics of our waterfront, at least a small corner of it. So we encourage everyone to attend in person, attend by Zoom or by phone. And we look forward to getting back to the select board with the recommendation or the advice, I guess, if you will, of the Waterways Commission.
So, excuse me, it will be Zoom also?
It will be what I consider a hybrid. I'm not sure if that's the correct word, but it will be Zoom. There will be phone access, and there will be live in-person presentation by Urban Harbors. And thanks to DCTV for bringing that all together and giving those options to the public.
The live location is here in Town Hall in the Select Board hearing room.
Room 304, I think, is what we've got posted as Select Board meeting room.
Well, looking through the plan that was submitted, or the draft that we have, it's extremely well thought out. The references and the numbers still need to kind of grasp my head around. But the initial plan, the initial drawing for the preliminary sketch for the dockage, it's a significant amount of slips. I think it's going to open up the waterways in town to a great number of people. And I look forward to the presentation and for the final study. So, Mr. Tattlebaum.
I thought it was most interesting that the commission dug deep into all the surrounding areas and looked at what they were doing, what worked, what didn't work, and why reinvent the wheel. But I also thought I read that that design of the preliminary design was pretty much something you put together, Steve. Is that correct?
Yeah, I will say many years ago, that was one of the many sketches, if you will, that I had in the back of my mind, actually, when I applied for the job almost 18 years ago. And I don't have any need for it to look exactly like that, but it's a basic geometric pattern which could be cut in half or doubled, or it can be easily manipulated to the recommended size and scope of the project. And that's why we've got experts looking at it, get a fresh set of eyes to get an outside independent evaluation on what should and shouldn't be. And yeah, I think it'll.
No matter how it goes, the bottom line is you know what you're doing.
Thanks.
It's a definite start, that's for sure. Mr. Mickelson.
Sure.
So, great job. But I want to congratulate the Waterways group. They've worked hard for something like this. This didn't come overnight. They've been thinking about this. I've had a relationship with them maybe 6 years, and they've talked about it every year. It's about time that it's finally coming before the town. It's a magnificent project, something that would enhance our ability to service people that need help with their boats, and families to get out and comfortable and quick, especially if they're Dartmouth residents and close by. Everything about it is just over the top. I'm just thrilled to see it, really.
Anyone else? Okay. All right. Well, good. So we'll look forward to tomorrow night's meeting. Encourage anybody, any boater or soon-to-be boater, please take a look in. All right. Shellfish posting changes. Now you're switching hats, Mr. Mello.
Yes, I've been working with the State Division of Marine Fisheries, and they control the harvesting areas within the Commonwealth, including Dartmouth. They also have to answer to, I'm not going to get into the vegetable soup of federal agencies, but suffice to say that there are standards at the federal level that the State Division of Marine Fisheries are trying to satisfy. And one of the more important parts of the job is to keep active the aquaculture that we've got starting and growing in Dartmouth. And there's, for some reason, the feds do not favor growing shellfish like oysters where there are boats, even though we run a very aggressive pump out campaign to keep the waters clean. So through some significant regulatory gymnastics, if you will, you can believe that from me, we've gotten the area of the Paid Aram Oyster Farm to remain open. The outside farm at Knockwood was not really an issue. And I've been able to get them to open the Family Beach area, which runs along Smith Neck Road, where everybody parks for free, where they can walk into the water up to their ankles or to their waists or even further. Area that we've seeded, that we've relayed over the past few years, in which the state shut down for the past 2 or 3 summers. It opened again. And on the limited days that we have for shellfishing right now, which are Wednesday through Saturday, with a proper town-issued shellfish harvesting permit, families can once again go back to this recreation-only area and dig for quahogs. And I take it as a win, and we'll be vigilant and doing what we have to do to keep these areas open during the summer season. But it's been posted with the select board. It's been posted on the town, the website, and it's also on the state site. So we're back open, and look forward to seeing how well the relay and the stocking that we've done has worked out.
Excellent. Excellent. Is there any questions, any comments from the board? Okay, good. Excellent. And now for some good news, Steve.
I'm not sure how or why, but I thoroughly appreciate the recognition that the harbor has received. U.S. Harbors, which is a national boating online organization, has anything a boater could need to know about any region. They've recognized Paid Aram in 2019 as the best harbor in the U.S. In 2020 and 20, we were a finalist for that same award. And for 2021, Paid Aram Harbor, the town of Dartmouth, was the regional winner of the best harbor for the Northeast region. It's a great recognition for the town and for the harbor. It literally puts us on a lot of cruising maps of people who might be interested to see how and why. And you know, it's a town-wide effort. It's the Maritime Center, it's the water quality, it's the Paid Aram Business District and the revitalization of the village itself. It all worked out, and it's still working out. And I thank you for letting us pursue this and to be recognized in this way.
So the question is, do you have to put in a requisition for a trophy case for the Maritime Center?
We have 3 plaques, and we are decorating the walls, and we have plenty of wall space there, and we will figure it out if we have to keep going. I don't think it'll be in my lifetime, but we'll put it on a Maritime Center to be continued later. But yeah, it's yeah, this is all voted by voters, basically. It's not a random thing. It's not a publicity thing by sponsors. Individual voters are allowed 1 vote, and we've garnered the votes. And sad to say, I wasn't one of them who voted, but I'll blame that on wanting to stay impartial.
I was fortunate enough to be on the day that they announced the winners and all of the individuals via Zoom, and it was definitely something that was well deserved. That's for sure. They're very they've been to the harbor. The U.S. Harbors personnel have been here. They know what it's like. They know, they've seen it, and they do know that it's a gem. That's for sure. So, and this is the culmination of lots of people over the years of doing this, from even the waterfront businesses, Davis and Tripp, Concordia, they all have a hand in in making this harbor one of the better ones in the Northeast and in the country. So, and this is just a testament to all these individuals and companies that work, live, and play in this area. That's for sure. So, congratulations, to everyone. Comments from the board? Anybody? Okay. Board's quiet today. It's rather unusual.
I would own.
Hold
I
up.
would-
Oh, of course, David.
Yeah. No, I remember when even way back when we started first looking at the waterfront, the Harbor Commission, to look the whole place over. And one of the goals was to try to talk about it, making it more of an attraction for people to stop along the way. And certainly the revitalization of the business district and the cleanup of the whole area. People now, obviously, they're stopping, and that seems to get exponential. Once they start stopping, others stop, and it's a real testimony to the entire group of people dedicated to the harbor. And it really is something.
Very much so. That's for sure. Anything else from the board? All right. Excellent job, Steve. Thank you very much for the presentations.
Thank you, Steve.
Nice backdrop, by the way, including with the seagull sounds.
Hell of a job.
You sound like Captain Nemo there for a while.
Is that your CD in your boat?
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. Have a good-
All right, next item on the agenda is the Mission Point 61A. My understanding is both the planning board and the Conservation Commission has determined that this parcel is not of interest, or these two parcels are not of interest in the town, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, does anybody have any questions on this?
I'm just curious. What is the value of those two parcels? Do you have that, Anthony? I mean, no, Anthony's not here. I'm sorry.
Here.
Sean?
We don't have the value.
Well,
We don't have the value included in the packet. That's not part of the application.
No, I understand. I'm just curious.
right.
About very high.
Yeah, unless you know what the plot is. Do we? Oh, okay. This is it right here. Yeah, you can find it up on the town website, at least what the assessed value is.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it.
All right, thanks.
Okay, all right, so board needs to take a vote on not to
Exercise its right of first refusal.
thank you very much. I was looking for that.
I make a motion that we exercise our right to first
Not-
refusal and not accept it.
Okay, not accept that.
Not exercise, not exercise.
I'll second that motion.
All right, motion made by Mr. Mickelson, seconded by Mr. Harron to vote to have the board not exercise its right under 61A. All right, Mr. Tattlebaum,
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson,
Yes.
Mr. Harron,
Yes,
Mr. Gracie,
Yes.
chair votes in favor. Okay. All right, next is the Stipend Review Advisory Committee. Mr. McGinnis.
Yes, so at a previous meeting, the select board voted to put together an advisory committee to review stipends as they relate to the town of Dartmouth and other towns. I've created this committee charge that's been put in the packet to just articulate the board's desire with this committee, talk about their specific charges, is to provide advice and assistance to the select board as to the benefits of establishing stipends or other benefits for board and committee members in order to expand participation and diversity of those boards and committees and to attract a larger and more diverse set of applicants. The membership of the committee per the board is 5 members of the public who are not currently on any board or committee in the town of Dartmouth.
Okay, all right, this is a wish of town meeting, Mr. Tattlebaum.
So the committee's charge is to present the benefits. It doesn't say anything about whether they determine at the end of their session that they think it's not a good idea, period.
Correct. That's up to the select board to decide. And then ultimately town meeting.
So just want to be clear. So their job is to present a package that says we are in favor of these benefits and here's what we came up with.
No, they may say that they are not in favor and they've done some research and they're an advisory committee, so they may determine that it's not advantageous for the town to have a stipend, or they may come back and say it's advantageous and this is what other communities are doing that are similar to Dartmouth and this is what a stipend.
I understand all that, Sean, but the non-acceptance of it is not part of the charge in this specific charges. It just says the benefits of, as opposed to maybe the ultimate decision they don't want it, they think it shouldn't be done.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends how you view it. You could say they could come back and say there are no benefits. So
No benefit. Okay, as long as that language, to me, it doesn't say that, but I understand it's different to put together a charge. It may be necessary to be done this way. I just don't think they should be limited to coming up with a list of benefits and a plan to do it.
well, under the specific charges, it states that the committee will determine if stipends or other benefits should be used and determine the appropriate amount of said stipends or other benefits. So they may determine that they should not be used.
Okay. So that language is there. Okay, thanks.
Any other comments? Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Mickelson, seconded by Mr. Herron. On the motion, any questions? Okay, board vote. Mr. Tattlebaum,
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson,
Yes.
Mr. Herron,
Yes.
Mr. Gracie.
Yes.
Chair votes in favor. Okay. Next item on the agenda is Select Board resuming the in-person meetings discussion. This was at a request of Mr. Mickelson. I know he wants to get going to the in-person meetings. I too in favor of that. However, I think at this point in time, I want to see how this fourth wave of COVID is going. And I would like to resume, if possible, in-person meetings starting in September. I think it gives us a good time to see where this is going, how this is going to affect. It is concerning, especially with the Delta variant. I, for one, am not too concerned myself because I've been vaccinated. But there's still, I'm not sure exactly what the numbers are in Massachusetts. I know Massachusetts is in the top 5 of having its citizens vaccinated. So I'm not sure where this is going to go. So if the board, we can discuss this further into the month of August. Actually, we can discuss it in our last meeting of August, whether or not the first meeting in September will be in person. Is that amicable to the board? Mr.
Well,
Tattlebaum?
why don't we discuss?
Mr. Tattlebaum.
We have many boards and groups meeting already. Is there a percentage of how many of our groups are meeting? Is that a fair question? Many, a lot, a few?
Well, I know there's been some, we have a meeting tomorrow night, and there was a meeting on the
Right.
feasibility for the recreation center last week.
Well, the ZBA meeting last week was live.
Okay,
That was their first live meeting, correct?
first live meeting.
The planning board is still meeting remotely.
I for one, feel like the spirit of compromise, I think we should show some leadership because people are, I think we should consider the second meeting in August and not do it if something comes up between now and then. But I think the sooner the better myself.
I agree. So the 23rd is the second meeting.
Well, I'll be honest with you, unless there's a motion on the floor and a vote taken by this board, the chair is going to rule that we're going to hold the 2 August meetings via Zoom.
Then I'll make that motion. We resume August 23rd in person.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Herron, seconded by Mr. Mickelson. On the motion, any questions? Mr. Tattelbaum,
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson,
Yes.
Mr. Herron,
Yes.
Mr. Gracie.
No.
Chair votes no. Okay, we'll see. Preliminary schedule for in-person meeting will be August 23rd. Mr. Gracie?
Anybody had the contact with the Board of Health on how those people feel about this? And those that are already meeting?
We've talked to the health director, and we're going by the guidance from the governor's office that allows for in-person meetings.
So he would not have any problem with it?
No.
Okay, so we'll discuss the parameter. Mr. McGinnis, you and I will discuss the parameters for the meeting on the 23rd.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Reappointments to the board. We have one reappointment, Lynn Antunes, to the Library Building Committee, and the committee that keeps on going.
Jesus.
I know. They're getting closer, guys. Trust me, they're getting closer. You're not spending money to get closer, which is even better.
Are all the leaks fixed?
Almost. The biggest problem, well, first of all, let's just handle the appointment first. So need a motion to appoint Lynn Antunes.
Motion to appoint.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, seconded me by Mr. Herron. On the motion, Mr. Tattelbaum,
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson,
Yes.
Mr. Herron,
Yes.
Mr. Gracie.
Yes.
Chair votes in favor. All right. The biggest issue was the water coming in the basement. And the question is, where was that water coming from? There was issues as to whether or not it was coming up from the water table, which was difficult in the summertime because due to the weather, the water table is lowered in the summertime. But there was also a possibility that it was coming off of drainage from the roof or from the swale, or from the grass area in front of, at the top of where this area is. So one of the members, Bruce Brooks, along with Tim Lancaster, dug up that area, readjusted some grading, and most of the water didn't show up. It did, and especially over a period of time over the last few, not this past, but a few weeks ago. Then all of a sudden we had a very small amount of rain and some water showed up. So they were looking to address this issue. Now the contractor was looking to address the issue and gave a estimate to redo it in the amount of $55,000. And of course that didn't sit well with the committee. And so that's why Bruce Brooks and Tim Lancaster did this work pretty much on their own. It's getting to the point now where they're getting close to defining where this area is. There may be some other remedies by extending the drainage pipe beyond this area. And there's also some additional landscaping work that needs to be done over, and it's owed to the project. But they're going to do that in the fall because now's not the time to do any kind of planting because you'll lose the planting. The other thing is that the complaints that we've heard in the past about the look of the library and the meadow look has quickly dissipated with the blooming of all the black-eyed Susans in that area. Chances are within the next month or so, we're probably going to get those complaints again that it looks like crap because the black-eyed Susans will be disappearing. But as this is the first year that most of the flowering plants have come up, and then as the years go on, these plants will be self-seeding again, and there'll be even more black-eyed Susans and whatnot. And there is mowing on this meadow done twice a year, the beginning of the spring and in the and towards the middle of the fall, or late in the, I would say the middle of the fall, just to get it ready for the winter. So that's pretty much where we stand on that issue. Mr. Herron.
Are you saying that we have no recourse to go after the general contractors for the water in the building?
Well, the question is, they have done some work in trying to see where it's coming from. They've drilled holes into the foundation and into walls to put in some hydraulic cement in some areas, and that seems to have stopped some of it. The problem is that they're not sure where the water is coming from. And if it was, and it seems to be that the work that our two guys did seems to have remediated most of it. And that still is a discussion as to culpability, whether it's design or whether it's actual workmanship. That still has to be discussed. And that is an option that I'm still keeping alive. Mr. Talbot, then Mr. Grayson.
Is the project manager still on the job?
Yes.
Is he providing some direction on all this?
Yes.
Are they as a group?
Yes.
Is the committee satisfied with what they're doing? The project manager?
I haven't heard any dissatisfaction.
Okay.
If I can just add to the remediation that was done by Mr. Brooks and Mr. Lancaster, the regrading worked well. They didn't want to go past the existing walkway path that's there because it's clay. So the last storm, the water had run from the building, but it had pooled up because it gets to the path. So subsequent to that, and that's why there got some water in the previous storm, which was very minimal. But subsequent to that meeting we had out on site last week, they're going to cross over the path with the grading so that the water can make it down the hill. But now we're just waiting for another storm to see if that's effective.
Not that we want to get a storm, but it'd be nice. Mr. Gracie?
Yeah, it seems to me, I could be wrong here, but if you hire someone to build you a building, whether it be a house or a library, their design and everything else, no matter what the reason is, it's their issue to find it and fix it. And we shouldn't have people that have to go in there and do work to get rid of any responsibility on their part.
Correct. I agree. And I think there was a big discussion between as to what the cause of the problem was. And kudos to Mr. Brooks. He basically was sticking to his guns that it was a pitch issue. And we were getting something from contractor saying, no, not really. And he kept saying it is. And then when finally the contractor kind of decided that it might be a pitch issue, that's when he offered to fix it at $55,000. And Mr. Brooks and Mr. Lancaster saved that money. And it appears that is what the problem was. Mr. Brooks is an experienced contractor, and you have to give him full credit on this by sticking his guns. Mr. Mickelson.
So, sorry, Frank. I agree with Frank. Why in the world would we have to pay $55,000 to fix their problem? That's insanity. It's their issue. It was created by them. There was obviously a defect in the design, and we're solely paying for it now with water leaks. It's not our problem. It is our problem, but it shouldn't be our financial problem. So would it be best maybe to hire a third party to evaluate what's going on up there and see who truly is responsible? If it is a design issue, then they have to pay it. They've already named the price, so they're already in it for $55,000.
Well, I mean, that hasn't been accepted yet, so that hasn't.
I can add that the contractor, the architect, and the project manager have all been accommodating, trying to resolve the issue. They've all worked well together. We're trying to finalize the actual issue to see what the resolution is. That resolution that was the $55,000 was excessive. You know, the terms of payment and who was going to pay had not been determined. The focus of all the parties right now is just to make sure that the issue is resolved. So once the issue is resolved, we'll go back and try to determine the cost and how it's split.
Mr. Gracie?
Yeah, to finish my thought, no matter what the problem is, I mean, it could be a variety of different things. That's an engineering design problem. That they should be in full force fixing it and figuring out what it is and fixing it. We shouldn't have to do anything, not including not pay a bill.
Well, there is no bill right now.
Right.
So
But
that's the thing.
they're indicating it's going to cost money to fix it. That's
Well, that's if the work that was done by Mr. Brooks and Mr. Lancaster accomplishes the detail, then there's nothing that needs to be done. And it looks like that may be the solution.
Well, we hope so. Let's see what happens with the next big rainstorm or snowstorm.
Thank you, Mr. Tattlebaum.
Well, the contractor, obviously, they made their peace when they decided they understood the problem. They said they could fix it for $55,000, which they were basically saying, we'll fix it, but it's not our fault, but we'll be glad to do it for you for 50 grand.
That's not for me.
I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. And I know that we're on the outside looking in on all this, and having been John, you've been involved in many buildings, and we just got off the police station building. And to me, the project manager is the key to all this, because they're the coordinated effort, and the contractors made their statement. It's not their job, not their responsibility, but we'll do it for you for 50.
I can tell you this, I made it clear at one of the meetings that if there's issues that need to be done, that needs to be addressed through errors and omissions or through town council, it will be addressed. And that kind of seemed to perk up people.
I wouldn't let it go.
It won't be.
Because 4 storms from now, it could end up being the same problem all over again.
That's my point.
It could be solved for 3, but not the 4th. Good.
Could be a whole lot of things too. So,
Yep,
I mean, it's
yep.
just, you know, but it'll be determined as to what steps need to be taken from this point. So it's not going to be left alone to sit and fester. That I can guarantee you.
yeah, it's still poor engineering no matter what. If the problem is fixed temporarily, it could come back a year or 2 from now. And then if you pour something down there, now you have a mold problem that grows through the building.
Correct.
Right. So hopefully, I can tell you that when they did the hydraulic cement in certain areas, it did rectify some significant problems. So that's been taken care of. Okay. All right, moving on. Old business. Any updates on COVID?
None on COVID other than what's been in the media, and that the Delta variant is starting to spread, particularly harshly in unvaccinated people. Those that are vaccinated experience relatively mild symptoms, but we're in contact with the health department and the Department of Public Health and the governor's office in monitoring any changes. But right now it's business as usual. List Corner, no new updates other than we're still coordinating a meeting with DEP, waiting to hear some dates to discuss their notice of responsible party letter. That meeting will be with both Dartmouth and New Bedford. The town of Dartmouth has retained legal counsel to support the town that specializes in dealing with issues like this. So once that meeting is in place, we will let the board know.
Okay. And Lake Nokichoke?
No new updates.
Okay. Has there been any progress on the upper dam? I know they were supposed to do some work, some additional information, I guess, with animals.
Yes, there's some other filings to address habitat information. We have not heard from them. They have not refiled.
Okay, all right. And it takes care of old business. Minutes, July 12th. Board's pleasure.
I have a question.
Yes.
Regarding the DPW, my notes here say that it's stated here that, I'm sorry, I had it here. Okay. The select board requests that the water department has new testing data available since the new treatment has been up and running. They can come to the next meeting. I wasn't under that impression, maybe I was mistaken, that they were going to come before us, whether or not, without any stipulation, just to come before us and give us an update on. Because my concern is not just about the water quality and the updates, but also about the communication with the town and what we can do about it. So I don't remember it this way. And obviously they're not here, so at this meeting.
I had it in my notes that it was requested when they do have water testing updates that they would come back.
Okay, I would request it.
Well, we can get them in for the 9th.
Please do. Thank you.
We'll get them in for the 9th. Okay, on the minutes.
Good to me.
Approve.
Motion made by Mr. Harron, seconded by
Second.
I'll
Mr.
second.
Tattlebaum. On the motion. Any questions? Okay, Mr. Tattlebaum.
Yes.
Stanley, what are you doing?
I'm fixing this wire.
Exactly.
Fishing?
Mr. Mickelson.
You like that color? Blue wire?
Don't hang yourself, Stanley. It's not
Oh,
that bad.
God. That's the reason why it went off. No, yes.
Mr. Harron.
Yes.
Mr. Gracie.
Yes.
And the chair votes in favor.
Thanks, guys.
It takes care of that. All
Thanks,
right,
guys.
does anybody have anything else before the board? Any announcements? Mr. Harron?
Mr. Chairman, I received a letter from the Wampanoag of Gayhead, and I was wondering if we should read that letter into the record or put it on one of our next agendas.
Let's put it on the next agenda and we can have it as part of the record of the board.
Okay, thank you.
And I know I've seen the letter and I know it's made its rounds through social media. So a good number of people have seen that letter.
All right.
We should give them a chance to talk.
I understand that. It's not our committee to do that, but yes, they should have been contacted. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. They
Right.
should have been contacted.
That's terrible. That's absolutely terrible.
So, yes, very much so. I've always said, well, never mind.
Don't say it.
That's another time.
Don't say it.
No, I was, people know my feelings on this issue. They know where my allegiance is to certain family in this town, as far as this issue goes. So,
yeah.
Anything else before the board? All right. Good job, gentlemen. Thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a second, Mr. Harron. A motion made by Mr. Mickelson, seconded by Mr. Harron. On the motion, any questions? There is none. Mr. Tattlebaum.
Yes.
Mr. Mickelson.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Harron.
Yes.
Mr. Gracie. And the chair votes in favor. Thank you, gentlemen. Meeting's over at 7:34. Have a good week.